What's up? My name is Eric Butler. This channel is called Report and Opine, and from Pix 11, Oregon lawmakers propose bill that would give $1,000 per month to homeless people. So we see this every couple months. It comes around. Oh, we're going to give $1,200 to the Transformers. Oh, we're going to give UBI to this group and that group. It's all absolute nonsense. None of it's ever really going to happen, but they throw it out there for red meat for the couple gullible losers who are still thinking that these weirdo politicians are going to do something good. Obviously, they're going to ask for more money. It's going to get filtered through the pockets of bureaucrats all over the place, and a few pennies are going to drop down to some weird NGO that are not going to give it to the homeless people on the street. Because unfortunately, I think we all know that most homeless people, not all, they don't really want the help. They've chosen a life, right? Sure, there are people all over the place that would love a helping hand and have really, truly fallen on some hard times. But a lot of people are just dope fiends, and they know that the city's going to give them free stuff if they just, zombie out on the street, and it doesn't matter. And the politicians love that. They love the zombies because they're the most controllable, quite obviously, because they're not going to question, they're not going to stand up to the corruption, they're not going to do anything. They're just going to be happy at the safe injection site and the couple of pennies that they get every single month. That's what's going to happen. So when homeless people get $1,000 a month, are we really going to, first of all, is that going to be enough to where they're going to go get roommates? They're going to go get other homeless roommates. It's not going to be enough to actually live on. It's going to be just enough to buy drugs and until they have a huge crack, fent, trank party that's going to, end in somebody no longer breathing. I can almost assume anybody who thinks that you're going to just hand a homeless person $1,000 a month and they're going to pull themselves out of poverty is sadly mistaken. But it's all very manipulative. They know this isn't the case, but they're going to do it anyways because it makes them look good. And of course, somehow, some way, I can't prove it, allegedly will, line their pockets.
$1,000 a month. What would you spend it on?
Some Oregon lawmakers from Portland and Aloha hope it'll keep hundreds of low-income people afloat. Lisa Balick dug into this idea. What are we talking about here, Lisa?
Well, one of the reasons that they are looking at this idea and they have a bill that has not gotten far just yet in the beginning of the session is that you've got to realize that we've got an end now to those federal stimulus checks. Also, those SNAP benefits we've been talking about are being...
They are really, truly pushing everything toward communism. Oh, well, can you believe that the pandemic benefits are ending and the SNAP benefits are ending? How sad. Everybody's going to just die if we don't continue to give free stuff from the scam that we created. But of course, if you scam us, you're going to jail. Always remember that. We created this entire scam. We printed out some more money to give to you. That's now ending, and we have to keep it going. We all saw this coming. We all knew that this was a way for them to usher in full-blown communism. And this is exactly what they're trying to do. Now they're going to say, well, it hasn't gotten far yet, but they are going to keep trying, right? And weed became medically legal in 1996 in California after 15 years of trying. And then from 96 to 2014 or 2015? So it takes a long time, and they are going to keep pushing, and nobody is there to push back. Nobody will... Look, you have a couple of these quote-unquote conservatives, but they're not going to do anything. They pretend they talk a good game, but they're spineless jellyfish. So on the left, typically, not all, you have crazy communists who are only after control. And on the right, you have spineless little weasels who talk a good game, but they don't have the guts to actually push back because as soon as they get called one name, they apologize. That's what's happening. And these people are clearly, this was crystal clear. Obviously, more people can see it now, but it was not hard to spot from the beginning. This was going to be their way to usher in complete and total communistic control, and they are doing it. One city, one state at a time. Well, people are going to starve and freeze if we don't continue to give them more money, all based on a lie that they told you from the beginning. And again, I hate to sound like a broken record. They scammed you. If you even attempt to scam back, if you stand up, you go to jail. It's that simple.
Being reduced, the extra SNAP benefits. So some lawmakers say it's time to look at some alternatives to help people. Others have a lot of questions about it.
Rental assistance is not as widely available as we'd like it to be. And I say that as somebody who has worked as a case manager in the space to get folks into housing.
Senator Lindsay Compost worked as a case manager at a
Her name is Lindsay Compost. You can't write this stuff, bro. Her name is Compost, really?
nonprofit helping the homeless. One reason she's the co-sponsor of Senate Bill 603, which sets up a program on a trial basis to give up to 1,000 Oregon households $1,000 a month for a year or more. Taxpayer money from the state general fund, $25 million total. Those who qualify would have to be either homeless or struggling to pay rent, earning 60% below the median income. The focus is groups like seniors, families with kids, homeless youth. Portland State would work with those getting the money to see if the program's successful and whether it should be expanded.
Oh, yeah, we're going to see if it's successful. What do you think? I mean, look, they always tell you that you can't talk about this if you're not a doctor. You can't talk about this if you're not an economist. You got to have some degree. None of this is that difficult. All you have to do is pay a little bit of attention, and you can tell that this is not going to work. But they want you to believe, of course, that they are smarter, they are more knowledgeable, and they're going to tell you, look, we can see that this isn't going to work. It's not tough, right? What, if you go to school for 4 years and pay $100,000, then they'll believe you? Of course they won't. They will just censor the people, the quote unquote other experts that don't agree. We saw that, right? We know how there's only one type of expert. There's only one type of scientist. And they're all in cahoots, the farm mafia, the media, the politicians. They all work together to make sure that we can, I don't know, steal your taxpayer dollars and give it to Ukraine, or give it to a guy living in a tent under the Bay Bridge, or give it to a guy in a tent in Portland, right? So he can go buy more dope. There's no possible way that guy's going to, what is he supposed to do? Is he supposed to invest in cryptocurrency? What do you expect somebody who's been living on the street, somebody who qualifies for this program, is not going to know what to do with that money? It's not hard to see.
We want to make sure that we are being accountable, right? That we are seeing where the dollars are going. And so that's why this is initially a pilot program.
Critics tell me they're concerned.
We hear about these pilot programs all the time. Oh, free money for Transformers. Oh, reparations for black people. Pilot program. We're going to study it and see if it works, because that's another scam. We have to study it. So we need more money to see if the plan works. And then, of course, we're never going to get any closure. Obviously, it won't work. I can tell you that right now. Mark the date, right? It's not going to work, but they're going to tell you after months, maybe. It might just fly into the wind and you'll never hear about it again, like Jussie Smollett. But they will tell you that, oh, yeah, we studied it. It cost $1 million to run a study to see if this works, and then we found out it doesn't work, so moving on. If you're lucky, because most likely it's just going to go away and you'll never hear about it again, and the money has already been spent on, drag shows or something.
There is not direct accountability for where someone spends their check. Why not get a grant for a study rather than using taxpayer dollars? The bill's sponsors, though, say Portland State would come up with guidelines and monitor the impact. They tell me a similar program is getting results in other cities. I checked and found it is underway in almost 30 cities. Most of the money handed out is used for retail purchases and for food. So again, as I mentioned in the beginning, this is just in the early stages. The bill has been introduced. It was heard this week in a committee. If you feel strongly about this idea, contact your state lawmakers.
There's no way anybody's buying this. Who is still buying this? The college girl with green hair in Portland or Seattle who's like, yeah, I'm going to. But then, they pretend that they like it. But then when you run into them at the subway station and ask them for $1, they're not going to give it to you. But everybody's so out of touch. With reality, they pretend, they virtue signal, and none of it's actually real. The money that they're handing out is not real. The money that was created since Rona, none of it's real. The money that was created because of the pandemic that was created, none of that's real. It's all completely fake. And then if you say that, or if you look, I hate to keep going back to the same story, but that guy in California who claimed PPP loans was only playing their game. And we see it's a similar thing like with right wing, with conservatives or Republicans or whatever. They try to go like Nikki Haley, for instance, who opens up her campaign ad for president, even though she said she wasn't going to run for president if Donald Trump did. Different story. She opens it up talking about the town was divided by race. The train tracks divided the town by race. And it's like you're playing in their mud. You're playing in their dirt. And you can't win that game. So as soon as these people capitulate and they don't realize how brainwashed they've become, that they look at these news stories and say, yeah, let's give them free money. But when you pull up, when you talk to them at the train station or at the bus stop or at the mall or whatever and ask them for money, or if a homeless person asks them for money, they're not giving them anything because they're all hypocrites. They're virtue signaling. They're absolutely delusional hacks in every sense of the word. So thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, and of course, subscribe.